I want to buy you a new car.
Why would I want a new car? Datsun runs great. I don't want anything
Everything has to be difficult.
in the wild.
What are you doing when we're there? Now you're in the wild. What are you doing?
You're just living, man. If you want something in life, reach out and grab it.
Okay guys, welcome back to Mountain Man Life. That was, this was wild. So to start off, I didn't watch this Sunday night, which I should have, because now it's Monday and I'm trying to record this and I feel this like rushedness to get this video out on a Monday, so that's my bad. But I watched Into the Wild. That was the movie that I was like teasing, I guess, and the reason for that was because I thought it was going to be kind of like The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. I thought it was going to be like that, like an adventure movie that like goes out into the wild and just like showing the different side of life and stuff, and it definitely was. I took some notes. I didn't realize I was going to take this many notes. I'm not going to go through like every single note because it's like double paged, but I definitely thought I should give this a good like shakedown for my first fresh movie that came out, and for some reason I didn't see it. That's the whole point of this show, and it's also to just be like reflecting on older movies in the sense of like, are they that much better? Because there's so many movies out there, and even now there's just like so much stuff coming out that stuff like this is going to get lost in the sense of it's going to be what's the next Stranger Things kind of a thing, and it's like, which they just announced another trailer, and it's like, why? And it's like, well, everybody just and then they're like redoing Harry Potter and they're redoing Lord of the Rings, or trying to, and it's just like a bunch of gobbledygook. So Into the Wild, based on a true story. Wow. So it was recorded in 2007, and the setting is the 90s, so you're definitely going to get a 90s vibe of music and obviously infrastructure, and just like it's just right on the point of like, obviously internet's not out yet. It's just on the point of like what he could do in this time period. So it follows this man named Chris, and I'm going to make huge jumps in the storyline and stuff, especially if you've already seen it. But he lives in a family that, well, the movie starts with him in Alaska, and you get that, I'm pretty sure it tells you right away. I mean, even on the poster it says Fairbanks, which is in Alaska. And he's out in the wilderness, and he's basically wandering around with a backpack and a little .22 rifle, and he's living off the land, or he starts to live off the land. And then the movie cuts to past day. So he just graduated high school with really good grades, and you get the sense, and he starts talking, monologuing, that his parents are very well off, and they want to be known that they are well off, in the sense of like they want to kind of know that they have money. Because one of the first big scenes is they are sitting, it's him and his sister, and they are sitting at a dinner table, and the parents like really want to get him a new car because they don't like his junker, and he immediately is like, well, is that because you don't like want that image of me? Like, you think that the neighbors are going to be embarrassed when I'm at college that I have this, it's like an older 70s Datsun? And he's like, well, what's wrong with it? It works fine. And apparently he saved up to get it, you find out later on, so he's like kind of attached to it, and you get the sense right away that he's not exactly happy where he is. But he's pretty bright. He talks about, I'm going to get some disclosures in how I'm going to rate this at the end, before I go into the next parts. So if you didn't watch my first video, go ahead and watch the second video, or the first one. The main things are going to be, don't see this movie at all, and then like don't even bother, I'll tell you everything. Then there's see it if you get the chance, because I think it was a decent movie, and then buy it if you see it at like Goodwill or whatever, like buy it in some form of media. And then so I'll give that rating at the end. It's gonna be like a red, yellow, or green kind of a thing. So yeah, the first chapter is he's out on the road, and he basically just leaves his life behind. You see him throw everything away. He has like $24,000 for college saved up, and in the 90s, that's actually a good amount of money. And he just throws it all away because it's literally the year of like 1990, I believe. And he's upset with his parents and just wants to get out of there. So he like burns his social security card. He just throws everything out, and he's on the road. He starts hitchhiking, which is so crazy because I just watched, and I'll put their thumbnail channel up / screenshot. I just watched these YouTuber guys. I'm almost done with the video, and that literally popped up on my YouTube feed recently of them going across the country only hitchhiking by the kindness of strangers. So it's kind of cool that I watched this movie as the first one, and then I just recently watched. That was also why I didn't watch this Sunday night, was because I was watching that YouTube video. I was just so hooked. Okay, I accidentally stopped the recording. All right, I just bumped it for a second, so we're good. Yeah, so he starts going, and he's in DC, and so he's trying to work his way down to just like across the country, just going west. Pretty quickly on, you find out that he wants to go to Alaska. I mean, obviously, that's kind of the title, and he wants to go to Alaska. You meet this young hippie couple in like the South, like Nevada or something. Maybe he's not in DC. Maybe he's just in a Embry College or something. I'm gonna have to get some specifics. But he meets this young couple along that he gets to California at some point, because he doesn't just go like straight west along wherever. He kind of like bounces around in Nevada and California. He meets this couple, and they're like old hippies. You get the sense that the husband is trying to connect with the wife, and they're like distant from each other. They're happy, but they're like distant from each other. And so there's some stuff going on, and she seems very distant from the husband, and then he like wakes her spirit up. He is in Chris. He wakes her spirit up to like they reconnect with each other and the husband, and they're great folks. I didn't realize how many A-list like up there actors there are, because then the next one in like chapter 2, and I'm trying to do my very best to like give a plot point. In chapter 2, he meets Vince Vaughn, and Vince Vaughn is like working in like Iowa or something, or Arizona, and he's like a wheat farmer. He like runs the business, and then Chris gives all his money away to a charity. There's like 3 plot lines that happen. It's cuts to the 3 main ones are, it cuts to Chris being in Alaska and surviving, and it's like week 1 or week 2 or whatever, and then past Chris, post leaving family to trying to get to Alaska, and he like learns skills along the way, learns little things from all the different individuals and couples that he meets along the way. It's also kind of cutting to his sister. I'm gonna put her right here. His sister is like monologuing as well. The other thing I wanted to say after the review thing is folk music, like country string guitar type music, is very present in this. Kind of got an adventure vibe. And then quotes and poems and like monologues. If you were a poem fiend, if you like people quoting books and things like that, this is your movie. Like, I will say that there was a lot of words and phrases, and which I was able to follow. I'm trying to see if I can make this light any dimmer. Yeah, poems and quotes from books, because he like brings books with him, because you think that this is the 90s, so there's no cell phones really. I mean, there is cell phones, but communication, I mean, they still have the pay phones all over the country with quarters, and obviously there's not Lyft, there's not Uber, there's not this and that, there's no social media, there's none of that. So this is, but there's still like modern combustion engines and electricity, and he it's not like you can hop on Twitter and be like, someone help me. So he meets Vince Vaughn, and then they get to talking, and he works for him. So he basically works at these little spots along the way to earn enough money to get him to the next spot, because he gave his $24,000 to a charity because he was just tired of the corporate world. And then there's this moment where he's in the bar after a long day with Vince Vaughn and the other characters, and they're both drunk, and he's talking about how Chris is done with society. He's done with and it's so funny, he was like, hypocrites and politicians and pricks, and how they all like need stuff and they need to like show off, and that's kind of what his parents were doing. So he's very like pissed off about that. And Vince Vaughn says, look now, he's like, if you want to get crazy, he's like, look up what happened in the 1940s in Roswell. And I was just like, whoa. And then Zach, this character Zach is, or no, I think his name is Kevin it's Zach Galifianakis. He's like this kind of awkward, socially awkward guy that works with Vince Vaughn that's a hunter, and because he needs help, Chris needs help with like what caliber of rifle he should get to move to Alaska. So like there's a point where after the bar scene, Vince Vaughn's on the phone with somebody, and he's he's a wheat farmer, he's selling wheat, and they talk about they have extra wheat. Zach Galifianakis' character is like reading off what they have and stuff. And so later on in the movie, the FBI shows up and arrests Vince Vaughn for something. And he's like, don't worry guys, blah, 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 Gab has your checks and you guys are going to get paid and everything, and I'll be out in a little bit. So it seems like a regular occurrence, because he was just like going out into his field and taking a piss, and then the cops just surround his place and he gets taken away. So it sounds like maybe that plot was he was like selling wheat under the table. I don't know the intricacies of that. There's another flashback to the sister talking about his growing up and how just gotten into high school or something. He was like pissing. Oh no, he did go to college. I'm sorry. He got out of college. He got a 4-year degree. He did go up on the stand. He did get his degree for like mathematics or something, or business. But then they were talking about going to like Harvard, like another degree for 4 years or something. And that's when they were at the restaurant talking about the law. Because I just read on here, because this is when he got out of high school. They were like washing the car in the summer. He was standing on the hood of the car and like spraying the hood of the car with the hose, the water hose, like a dick. And his mom got upset because he was like, she didn't want the neighbors to think he was weird. And so he kind of got upset like that, which I'm kind of the same way. It's like, he's 16 or whatever, or 17, but let him do his thing. Like, it's just funny. We also see that, and like I said, I'm going to put spoilers at the front before any of this, because obviously this is just like bits and pieces. Turns out the dad cheated on his mom when he was still married to this other woman, even after the fact that they had kids. So Chris's mom had him and his sister, and the dad was still married to the other woman when they had the kids. And so they didn't figure out till Chris was like 13 or 12 or something, and his sister's like a year younger than him or so she's like 12 or something, or 11, and they feel like bastard children. And so then the whole like mindset of Chris just snaps and goes the other direction. And so that's what like puts him into this mindset of like pissed off because his dad like made them make their world go crazy. So then we cut to him getting pissed off at the government. I love it. Trying to get down the river in Nevada, trying to get to the Hoover Dam, whatever river connects to the Hoover Dam. And the game warden guy like needs him to get a permit to then ride the kayak on the rapids. And apparently it was going to be 12 years till he could go on the rapids. And he was like, what the, like, just more compounding onto, like, what the hell? Like, why does it take that long, this government crap? So we end up saying, screw you, and gets a kayak from a store, goes down the river, and he meets this young couple. And this is where the rated R comes in, because it was not... I think one of the guys said the F word at one point. Now, the setting is 1990s, and the movie's recorded in 2007, or it would be 2005 or so, but they're still putting it in the settings of, obviously, the 90s. There be boobies. There are boobies. It's a Swedish couple on the river, a guy and a gal, and she's swimming, and then as he's coming around the corner into this like flat, calm area, she's half naked, and she gives him like a hug. They greet him, and they're grilling up hot dogs, and they just have a conversation. They talk about the river and where he could go, and then less than like 5 or 10 minutes, he hears a boat patrol cop coming, like hears the horn of the boat further up the river, and he's like, I gotta leave, I'm sorry guys, they're gonna catch me because I didn't get a permit to put this kayak in the water, and I miss you guys, love you, thank you, and blah blah blah. I don't even know if he ate one of the hot dogs. Maybe he ate, no, I think he ate one of them. So yeah, and then she's half naked the whole time, like in and out of scenes and stuff. She's like leads him to their little campfire half naked. And then when they're leaving, she's just standing there, like, full little boobs and all. And so then he runs, he, like, drags his kayak up the river bank so that the cops don't catch him. Yeah, Hoover Dam. Next thing we know, he's in the Sea of Cortez, so he follows the river down into Mexico. By the way, he doesn't have any ID on him at all. Social Security card he burned up. So it's December 1990. I'm reading my notes. I'm going to skip ahead really fast here because it's already going to be a long video that I'm going to have to cut down. I don't want this video to be longer than the actual movie. The movie is like 2.5 hours long. Like, it's a good solid 2 hours and like 15 minutes long, which I did not realize. I thought it was going to be a bit shorter than that, but it is. He comes back into the border from Mexico, and then he's trying to get an ID at like a homeless shelter place. I'm going to keep some of these spots out. So he tries to take a train further north. Does not work out that well. We'll just say that. Then it cuts to him killing a large animal, which again I'm going to keep in vagueness. And then he learns some stuff from Kevin, Zach Galifianakis' character in Arizona or Iowa, or wherever the hell it was, about big game and how you have to like cut the meat out and like cook it or whatever really quickly, or else the bugs of the flies are immediately going to get it and like lay larvae in it, and then if larvae are present on the meat, it's done. So like I said, it's kind of hard to like explain it on the outside instead of just like seeing it. So now he's still traveling north, and now he ends up in, I'm pretty sure it's Nevada, it's Salvation Mountain, but he meets back up with the couple, and this is like a year later or half a year later. He meets back up with the hippie couple, and now they're in this congregation of like the Slab or something, where, and I've seen this like painted hills and stuff before, and it's like a big community. There's like 10, 20 camper trailers and all that out there. And then he's meted by Tracy, Mrs. Twilight Woman. So this is a year before Twilight came out, and she plays guitar, and right away she has that like biting her lower lip type. She's into him right away, and so they go on this little walk. This old man that's part of the congregation in the like camp leads them to this like spot where the tourists come, and he's just talking about how he loves life and how he loves God. And so what's really interesting is like almost every single character mentions God in a sense in the background, like not like force it on you, but they all like, each character is like mentioning God, which is really cool. They don't say like Christianity and stuff, but there's another character that you're going to hear about in just a second that he's like, I got to go to mass in the morning. So that's Catholicism, I'm pretty sure. He's like, it sounds like you're dancing around the word God, like you're basically saying, and Chris does mention God at some point. So I think that was really cool. So they do that, meets her, blah, 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 blah. Story develops on the mom. So Chris and the girl get kind of close, and he's staying in some of these locations for a few months on at a time. Because the whole like adventure up to Alaska is about 2 years. And we get more story from the couple. So apparently her husband left her with a kid, and then the kid is similar age to him, and she hasn't seen him for 2 years. And so she said, do your parents know where you are? And he's just like, and she's just like, because they care so much about him that they want him to not like run away, and that people love him. It's just hard for him to see it. So that happens, and then the next morning, The dad says, the Rainey, the guy that's with the woman, says something like, he looks over at her, at the Tracy character, at Kirsten, and says something like she's about ready to jump on a fence post. And I was just like, damn! Like, she was longing, we'll say, and she made her character seem like that. I was like, goodness gracious me. And sure enough, she like catches his eye, because there's like two trailers far apart from each other in this like big deserty parking lot. And he goes over to talk to her. She like jumps up and like runs into the trailer. He's like knocking on, hello, and she's just there in her underwear. She wasn't naked, but she was there presenting herself, like beckoning him to come over. And he's like, whoa. And then they get to talking, and she goes from I'm 18 to I'm 17 to I'm 16, because he asks like when she was born, and he was like, I'm not, you're too beautiful in that sense, and he didn't want to harm her in any way, which is good. Which is what I put. I said this is good, and yeah. So he's like, you need to, if you want to send me letters, because he's about ready to embark and head out. If you want to send me letters here, you can send them. But someone will find you, and when you see it, reach out and grab it. And so she's very obviously sad that this Wonder Boy this wild man is running away. Because this whole time he's been like working out too. He's been like calisthenics, like strength conditioning for Alaska. Everything he's been doing and learning is about Alaska, like prepping to do stuff in Alaska, learning about berries, and trying to make his body better to survive in Alaska. Before that, at some point, he had worked at Burger King, and the manager was like super happy to help him get a job and like earn some money, but then he like apparently didn't have any socks working at Burger King. And then yeah, he ends up in Salton City, California, and he meets this gentleman named Mr. Franz that drives a 1960s Bronco, and drives him to where he was camping up in the hills, which is apparently out of, oh my god, Hot Springs, which is apparently a nudist community. And once again, you're driving by and full everything. They don't like obviously zoom in on it, but you can definitely drive by, and it was two like athletic women fully naked, and then some of the guys were naked, I believe, and then has a conversation with Mr. Franz, and he basically takes him back to his house and tells him about how he was in Okinawa in 1957, so he's an older gentleman. His wife and kid were just back in the States going to like get ice cream or something, or coming back from a movie. And a drunk person came and smashed into them and instantly killed them. So it's like, and yeah, so now he started to drink heavy, go into whiskey, and then he was like, I don't think I should do that. I don't think my wife and future kid would have wanted me to do that, his son. So he goes to work, and he's a leather worker, and so he makes like belts and buckles and harnesses and some other leather working, maybe like gun harnesses or holsters and stuff. And so he pours his stuff into that in his little shop, and so then some big stuff happens, and Chris is about to leave and like escape, and then early in the morning, and Ron hears him get up, Mr. Franz, and then he basically tells him, he's like, I'll drive you 100 miles to wherever, so that you're at least out of the desert, so you can get like on a plane or train or something. Mr. Franz talks about how his mom and his dad were only kids, and that he was an only kid, and that when he dies, his bloodline is going to be dead, and that's it. So a lot of people do care about that, like wanting to continue their bloodline, their family. So he asks him in the truck, is there a chance that I could adopt you? Because he's still kind of under the impression that he's like an only child as well. Also in the sense of like, he doesn't know that he has a family because he hasn't told anybody. He's basically been going by Alexander Supertramp, which is interesting. That's his penmanship name or something, his adventure name. Chris, Alexander says that, why don't we talk when I get back from Alaska? There's a crying moment there. And like I said, we've been cutting back to mom and dad being really sad, and they've actually grown closer, even though this whole, like, they fought a lot when Chris and his sister were growing up. The dad and the mom fought often, like domestic violence almost, but they've actually gone closer in the pain. You see a scene where they're at church praying, which is really crazy. Yeah, I'm not going to spoil the end, because I'm basically at the end here, and this video is going to be long enough as it is. My final verdict. Oh, also, it's written, screenplay, and directed by Sean Penn. Now, politics and whatever with Sean Penn, that's besides the point. He was also in The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, but he was actually an actor in that, and like a character that was outdoors and adventurous, so that's kind of cool. I thought I'd just throw that in there because I was looking at it. As far as my like rating of like red, yellow, green, it's at least a yellow. So it's at least, you should see it. It's good. It's just kind of long. It's hard to quantify how it's going to affect each person. I definitely will want it for my young kids to kind of watch, and if I have a girlfriend or significant other, wife at some point that hasn't seen it, that I'll definitely have her watch it, which is kind of cool. It's cool that I own it now, but it's tough. I'll say that. I'm usually a happy-go-lucky guy. This one was tough. This was definitely a gut punch in the sense. So, but it's good. It's not as rewatchable, in my opinion, as like The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, because that one's more about taking advantage of what you have in this life and like utilizing it. Because obviously, if you know the story, he like works a job for 25 years, and that's all he's done, and living in his apartment, trying to meet someone into his early 40s or something, but he hasn't really like done anything adventurous. So it's like showing he goes on a crazy adventure, but it kind of gives you the inspiration to go on your own adventures on the weekends and on taking that week trip to a country or go backpacking somewhere. So this one, it's like he's just like, screw humanity, or not humanity, but screw the corporate world and screw politicians and that type of ecosystem. So like I said, Into the Wild, I would say it's definitely watch it when you can. Like if it pops up somewhere, if you see it on like YouTube Premium or if it's on one of the streaming services for free to watch, go ahead and watch it. If you're really looking for something and you want to spend the $6 or whatever, the $7 to like watch it for the night, I would say do that as well, potentially, because you can probably find it right now to watch on Amazon. But me finding it Goodwill a long time ago for like $3 was a done deal. So yeah, if you guys like this content, feel free to comment down below if there's movies that you would consider me watching. Like I said, I'm going to try to ebb and flow with movies that I haven't seen, like that I want to see, like this one I've wanted to see for a while, and then also the movies on I'm pointing at the IMDb list, seeing those movies, and yeah, let me know what you guys think, and I hope you all have a blessed day. Peace.